Thank you so much, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name is Monica Mali, the advocate lead for TRSN, Tertiary Refugee Student Network, and it's my honor to invite you to this session today. And I'm also honored to invite to our panel the High Commissioner for Refugees, Mr. Filippo Grandi. We acknowledge and are happy for your continued leadership in keeping reminding us of the meaningful participation of stateless people and refugees. And to my right is Ms. Cecil Pango, who is the founder of Women for Action and the co-lead for gender equality and protection on the protection from gender-based violence, multi-stakeholder pledge. And on my left is Krista, who is the president of Tertiary Refugee Student Network in Latin America and our communication leads at the global level for Tertiary Refugee Student Network. And to my father's right, my father's left, sorry, is Mejdi, who is the refugee advisor for German government representation to the Global Refugee Forum Progress Review. As we all know, the problems of refugees are becoming more protracted every year. We speak of inclusion of refugees, we make pledges, but the question will always remain, how are we implementing the pledges that we make, and what is the progress we make every year when it comes to issues of refugees and inclusion of refugees. And this conversation is very important today because we need to know from the refugees and from the High Commissioner what has been the progress from the pledges that we make. And my question goes to all of you. The first question goes to all of you. And it is, looking back in your respective roles, how will you assess the progress made in advancing the meaningful participation of stateless persons and refugees at the global, regional, and local levels, and how has it led to improved solutions and outcomes for the displaced persons? I will start with you, the High Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. This is an important conversation. And I would say, and forgive me if some of you have heard me say these things before, but first of all, meaningful participation of refugees. You know, today in my notes I saw MRP. Please don't use this acronym. Meaningful participation is not an acronym. Really, that's a key point. We want to make this very real, not an acronym, right? That's very important. So I think that we have, of course, a long way to go, but and numbers do not tell the whole story. But I can't, you know, I'm not very good at statistics, but if I remember the first Global Refugee Forum 2019, I think we were about, what, 70 people, 70 people with lived experience, refugees, displaced, stateless, participating in the proceedings. And this time is, I don't know the final statistics, but it's more than 300 that were supposed to come. Maybe in the end it's not exactly that, but it's about, let's say, 4 times more. So numbers, again, do not tell the whole story, but we have progressed. And in all, or maybe almost all the events that we had here, there was some participation. And I think this is important. This is important because it means that that voice is now there and can influence the debates and the discussion. This is the point I wanted to make. I think we need to go further than that, but I think it is a good trajectory. But, and forgive me if I raise a point that I think I even raised at the last Global Refugee Forum at the same meeting, remember, the meaningful participation means that it has to be at all levels. Not just here, which is a great forum for discussion, for advocacy, for new ideas, so very important, but at all levels, all the way to where it matters most, in my opinion, which is at the field level. This is really where it matters. I visit all the time, I have visited all the time refugee situations, and it's very uneven. It's not even. In some places it happens, in some places it's a bit tokenistic. Yeah, let's have a refugee and ask him or her what we should do. And in some places it doesn't happen at all. And this is also sometimes our fault. You know, we, the organizations, are not doing this yet. I think it has improved a lot in the last few years, but it's not yet there. And the final point I want to make is about, like you, Mehdi, you are, Mehdi, right? Mehdi, you are part of the German delegation, and I know that some delegation, Canada and others, have a person with lived experience as part of it. I hope that this practice becomes broader. And sorry, I don't mean to be provocative here, but it would be great, you know, here in our UNHCR world, the refugee world, we have donor countries and host countries, right? Would be great that some refugees would be in host countries delegation as well. I said it the other night at the RC event, and I think it's very important because this is really where it is the most important, at the field level, represented also in the host country. I know it's complicated, very political in some places. Let's call a spade, but I'm sure that there will be some host countries hopefully reflecting on it going forward.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. My name is Cecilia Dupongo, and I am a refugee. I live in Malawi. I would like to show how much this global forum has transformed things at the field level. Mr. High Commissioner, dear guests, before 2019, women-led organizations had no clear vision on what to do and how to act in order to help women in their refugee situations. But I was here in 2023 at the occasion of the Global Refugee Forum, and that's where I realized that women do have rights. We can do something, we can act, but we need to be diplomatic about the way that we negotiate these rights. When I went back to my country in Malawi, I brought back these demands, and I explained to women around me that we needed to actually negotiate. We needed to learn from people who know how to do this, and we needed to train in this matter. And that's how we got more information, we got trained so that we got ready to actually negotiate. And this is how, in Malawi, over 25 women-led organizations were fully funded. My organization was funded by the Innovation Fund, the UN Innovation Fund. We've started working together with women to empower them, and all of these women, they are the victims, they are the ones who should voice the importance of fighting gender violence. And women are now participating in these conversations because we've called them, we've invited them, and we've given them some space for this. Mr. High Commissioner, I'd like to let you know that in Malawi, women know their rights. Over 80% of women are informed of their rights. Men and boys who are the ones who commit crimes, they also are now aware of what gender-based violence means and how to protect women from these violences. I believe that the Global Refugee Forum is a great opportunity to share knowledge and information. And this is not only done by us or organizations, this is also your work, Mr. High Commissioner, your work for over 10 years. And thanks to this dedication, we get great results. Thank you very much.
Krista?
Thank you. It is a pleasure for me to be here today representing the refugee community from Latin America. And out of respect for the community I'm representing, I will be speaking in my mother tongue. So please, I kindly invite you to put on the headphones again and connect to the translation. In Latin America,
we have taken huge strides. We have opened up spaces and we have gained the legitimacy for the voices that we represent. I wanted to share with you 3 specific examples of my region. Firstly, I'd like to speak about a youth network which was built together with refugees, statelessness persons and displaced persons. With that space, we wanted to provide them with a secure space. We wanted to allow them to use that platform to engage with institutions, with stakeholders, to gain impact. Carlos is a mechanism we have as well, which is present in all Latin America and the Caribbean. It's made up of 150 RLOs, and these RLOs share a lot of experience, and they are able to exchange that experience in one single space, this mechanism, which allows us to formulate real proposals and to have a true representation of all our region. And the third example I wanted to share with you is the example of tertiary refugee network, which is a global network which started off in Latin America 3 years ago. We are currently present in Ecuador and Colombia, and together we are working to gain influence in the field of education, as that is the approach we want to follow, to influence in the field of education, to open up channels of education for refugees. Only 7% of refugees in Latin America have been able to follow studies at a university level. Before this network, only 1% of refugees were able to do so. Cartagena Plus 40 is a declaration which gave voice to youth refugees and which served to reinforce protection for them. We celebrated the 40th anniversary of the Declaration of Cartagena a few months ago. For the first time, refugees sat at the table, were able to provide opinions, to provide solutions. We were part and parcel of that event. And precisely in the Declaration of Chile, or in virtue of the Declaration of Chile, we carried out regional consultations to include the voices of young refugees. We have worked in favor of all these sorts of mechanisms to give us more representation and to have a more structured representation in our region. Thank you.
Marhaba.
Good afternoon.
For me to be sitting on this plenary next to you, Mr. High Commissioner, and the great speakers and moderator. I'll share some reflection from the experience that we have made in Germany. Since the last GRF, so many significant changes happened in this world, and these had immense impact on refugees, displaced people, the staff and the system who is supporting them. I would like to take a moment to focus on the beams of sunshine that made it through this cloudy environment. So by that, I would like to speak about what happened in Germany. In GRF 2023, Germany made a pledge on increasing refugee participation. That was followed with a lot of preparations and led to the establishment of the Refugee Advisory Board in October 2024. We started as a group of 6 members who have different expertise coming from different regional places in the world, who are who were based in Germany. We started directly after this establishment by getting an invitation from the German government to join them, part of the delegation in the XCOM 2024, as well in the preparation. So this is, I'm bringing some details because it's, as you said, it's not only about being there, it's about how much we are really involved in the preparation. So we got the invitation, we got involved in the preparation, and after that I came to Geneva in XCOM 2024 and participated in it. The good progress that we have experienced is that in the next year, the German government reached out to us, this time earlier, asking us to be preparing some inputs for the next XCOM as well for the GRF. So this is something that we have seen as a very positive development because it showed that the first time it had led for some added value for us as well. And we gave feedback that would be like to involve more in the preparation, not only in being around, because I believe it's the value in Geneva is huge, but there is a lot of value happening between the XCOMs and between the GRFs, where most of the important discussions happened. So since then, besides being involved in this kind of high-level conferences, we have been as well invited to give some insights on topics like the Syrian developments that happened since the fall of the Assad regime. So we have been still going in conversations with the Ministry of Cooperation and International Collaboration and with the Foreign Federal Office. And this is something that we have reacted to. But at the same time, we have brought our topics and our priorities to the table. And by that, I mean we brought the topic of humanitarian pathways from Afghanistan. We have brought the topic of third country nationals on the context of the war in Ukraine. So, and the mental health and psychosocial support needs of refugees in Germany. So it's like a two-way collaboration as well. It's not something that we are sitting there waiting for the German government to reach us and asking for inputs or for comments. So we are actively reaching out. For us, we know this is like baby steps, and we know we're still on the first part of the path. But we are happy to see the direct effect that this inclusion is bringing and the indirect one. I think Mr. High Commissioner brought attention that this would have an effect on other countries, hopefully, that they would see how this refugee participation could look like and what kind of added value it brings to the table. We know that right now there is a huge ethical and funding challenges that's happening, but just wanted to bring attention, like these things are not disencouraging us. It's on the contrary, it shows that our work is more needed now than before. So for me, like one last thing I would like to add, like I would like to encourage everyone to look at these beams of sunlight that made it through the clouds. We have heard a few of them yesterday in the Nansen Awards, and I think there are many of them that didn't make it yesterday to the Nansen Awards. So please, whenever you feel that there is, like the pressure is so immense, try to search for these lights and think about them. Yeah, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your contributions. And to just make a few reflections from your contributions, what stands out is that the host countries, and not only the host countries, but the countries that we come from, have a role to play in issues of refugees. And in my last engagement with IGAD, I was telling my country people that if South Sudan is peaceful for other refugees from other countries, why is it not peaceful for South Sudanese? If it's peaceful for Sudan, why is it not for us? And that's the question to all the host countries and to the countries of origin that refugees come from. From Cecile, it's about equipment, equipping the refugees and organizations, women-led organizations in how to deal with issues of refugees, and feedback to the communities that we represent, as well as refugees' participation and coming back with positive feedback. So my next question, and you have to be mindful of time, 3 minutes each, is that looking ahead as meaningful refugee participation ambassadors in your respective roles, what needs to happen next to ensure continued